How's it going, Pink Pirates crew? It's Adrian, and we're back with another video. So today I have a box tournament finals for you guys to watch. This is going to be between the same two people that were in last video. This is going to be Alan and Brian, two of our best Bay Area players, honestly. This is like a super classic matchup that we're going to see in NATS, which honestly, by the time this video is uploaded, it's probably going to be either today or tomorrow or something like that, which, by the way, I am going to. So if you do remember me from way back when I used to post a lot, come and say hi. But I'm going to get out of your way here and let you guys watch some of the best players that I know in the Bay duke it out for this finals tourney. And once again, I would like to thank Alex and Kyle. You guys are really great for the community, and everything that you do for us, and especially for the participants in this box tournament, is really crazy. Honestly, the community would be in shambles without you two. So a big thank you to Alex and also Kyle. So again, from me and everyone in the community, that's just a huge thank you for both of you. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. So getting right into it, we got Brian on the left. Alan's gonna start us off on the right, playing Sakazuki. Gonna trash that Sabo and then pass. So he trashes Sabo, draws one. Against Sakazuki, I actually really like going first. You get to establish 7-drop Enel like pretty early on, which is really important, and they don't really have a good answer for it unless it's something like double Houndblaze and Ice Age and something like that. But here Brian's just going to play the Shura into the Ohm, which is really good for him. This is pretty much the set curve that you want for Enel. You want to be able to play that Ohm into the Holly and have to, have Sakazuki deal with it, which it's going to take like 2 or 3 cards to deal with Ohm, which is like 1 card. So he's going to swing 5k, and of course Enel being Enel, they're just going to take that. No counter there. Playing out the Hina, which is probably the strongest play that you have on that turn. So Alan's going to be able to maximize his Dawn, playing a Hina, drawing 1, getting that cycle in. He's going to get rid of a Great Eruption, which is pretty interesting. I think it's one of the best tools that you have against Ohm Holly, but we'll see if that ends up working out for him here. For me personally, I do like swinging 5k at Sakazuki here. I think, yeah, Brian's thinking about something. He's gonna rest 4 for the Ohm, try to get out a Holy here. This just lets you go extremely wide, and on 5 Dawn on Sakazuki's side, they don't really have a good answer. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to get a Holy out from the top 5 cards, and he doesn't have one in hand. I do like swinging here, but I think Brian ends up not doing it, probably because if Alan wants to play something like a Kuzan, like that prevents him from doing it. Me personally, I just like bringing Sakazuki down to like a low life count, or so that I could just try to start getting cards out of their hand, and like 10 cost Kaido is a lot scarier to play. But I definitely don't think that not swinging there is a bad play at all. It could potentially prevent him from a lot of other plays. So Alan's gonna just start off the turn swinging 5 here. I wonder if we see another 5 from the Hina. Go 5 and then play something like a Borsalino. But he's gonna end up using that Great Eruption, cycling 1, minusing the Ohm there. This would be pretty much a perfect Houndblaze, but he ends up playing the Lucci instead. And this is pretty good here, because he's gonna be able to clear that board. On Brian's crackback, like, he's probably going to want to play a Gadatsu or something like that onto the Lucci to KO it. And he was only able to do that because he did not swing last turn, right? So we'll see what he ends up going with. He's gonna end up swinging 5k. I don't know if he just doesn't have the Gadatsu here. I was standing behind him, but this game was kind of like almost a week ago. So, but here he has 6 Dawn to play with. It's kind of an awkward transition period for Enel. Like there's not a lot of like really good curve plays that you can do on 6, unless it's something like Shura plus Ohm Holly, or like Shura plus Katakuri. You're always gonna have like 1 hanging Dawn left. So, but he's gonna play another 4 Dawn turn for Ohm. And this time he is able to get the Holly down, which is really great for him. So now he has two things. And Sakazuki just used Lucci. He's going to Thunderbolt the Lucci, getting rid of one of his own life. I don't know, Thunderbolt feels kind of bad there, but I understand why you do it. You don't really want, but part of me is like, you kind of don't really want to get rid of that life, because now he's sitting at 1, and this could potentially make him get rid of cards out of his own hand, because he's going to have to defend one of these swings, right? He can't just eat like a 5k, because then he might stack onto Hina and might drop him down to 0. But we'll see what he ends up going with. But I mean, that play isn't too bad either, because if he ends up stacking like all of his Dawn onto it, he's not playing something like a Lucci combo, which is really great. But yeah, Alan on 7 Dawn here. He's going to get rid of a Kuzan to cycle 1 card. There's a lot of things you could still do on 7, especially if you have something like Great Eruption Lucci again. I mean, 1 Great Eruption pretty much breaks this board. Something like a Hina Lucci combo will also kind of just clear up this board. So we'll see what he ends up going with. These turns can be, I mean, after turn, like in these turns with like higher Dawns, this is where it kind of gets a little difficult to play Sakazuki, because I mean, on 7 he might even want to just like play Borsalino out onto the Ohm. It might get Katakuri'd, but I mean, that's a risk you're kind of willing to take, going 1 for 1 there. So he's gonna end up swinging 5 here. Looks like he's minusing the Holly, and yeah, he has to give up a 2k there, so he doesn't drop down and use his leader skill. Now, and I always say this, like, when you're playing against Enel, you should always swing with your leader first, just because you don't know if you're going to want to swing with your leader at all after you swing with your characters. For example, like if he swung 5 with the Hina there first, and then he countered out, then his leader swing is pretty much obsolete, right? Because you don't want Enel to be able to cycle, but he's going to play out the brand new here. He's got a multitude of options, but he's going to take the Hound Blaze, and there's this pretty nice wide board, but Brian's going to get to keep his board from what it looks like. There's not a lot of 1 Dawn removal cards, right? So that's really good for him. He's going a little bit wider, but I mean, Alan still has like a ton of cards in hand, especially for Sakazuki. He's really draining the Enel player's hand. So we're gonna get 2 for Amaru, end up resting the Kuzan, which I think is great. That's a good start. You don't want this Kuzan to be out. There's pretty much no point in playing something big if the Kuzan is out, because it's gonna get pretty much 1 for 1. So he's gonna get rid of it with the Amaru boosted attack, swing 5k here, and he just has so many cards in hand. It's gonna be such an uphill battle. Yeah, so he's gonna end up countering with a 2k there to Shigi. He's gonna swing another 5 here. And I do think, like, especially when you're playing Enel, like, just being really aggressive into Sakazuki is one of the only ways you win. With the risk of like 10-drop Kaido being a thing, he's gonna play Shirahoshi, so his hand is probably not the best. We don't see like a big drop. We don't see something like a Katakuri or pretty much just a Katakuri or like 7 Mom being played here on 8 Dawn. So not the strongest turn, but this could still get kind of tricky for Sakazuki, especially if this Shirahoshi cycled a lot of like big cards into his hand. And then now Alan's gonna be playing his turn out with like 9 Dawn, which is very scary. There's like so many different things that you could do with 9 Dawn, a lot of different combos to clear this entire board here. And like Sakazuki being at 2 life in this situation with a ton of cards in hand is just super, super scary, because they could just remove your stuff over and over again, and they don't really have to they don't really have to commit a lot to it, and usually they are going to be removing your stuff with things like Borsalino, removing your stuff with, you know, like Rebecca Hina Lucci combos. So it's not like they're just using like some sort of event to clear it. They're also building a board against you, which if you don't have like high cost cards as Enel, you're just going to be stuck at 1 life, and you're going to get your hand drained, like what we kind of see is going on here, because it looks like he only has like 6 cards in hand, which I mean isn't the best. As Enel, you really want to have like that big hand count, just so you're so much trickier. And Alan's just kind of evaluating what to do. What is the best play for 9 Dawn based on what they can play next turn, right? Because Brian could potentially pull out like something like a Yamato. He ends up swinging at the Holly, and I think he minuses the Holly too with that Sakazuki effect. And Brian's just going to let that go, which, I mean, I agree with. There's like so many different things that Holly is going to eat, like a Hound Blaze, anything like that. Like it's just better to treat that as a blocker than to like give just like give a 1k counter or something like that and then having him Hound Blaze it away. But now he only has 1 more swing left. He could potentially swing with a brand new if he has something like a Hound Blaze, but he's gonna need to pair it with, you know, like a Hina or some Rebecca combo or Great Eruption, since that he's used the Sakazuki -1 ability. But we'll see what he ends up doing. He still has 9 Dawn up, so he's only used the leader swing. And you're gonna want to clear most of these things. I think the Ohm is actually not that big of a threat. I think Shirahoshi should be the main concern, because if he ends up putting that Shirahoshi back into life with Katakuri, now it's really an uphill battle, because they're gaining an extra card out of that trigger, and they're also cycling their hand, which it doesn't look like Brian has a good hand here. He hasn't played any big cards like Big Mom or Katakuri. He's gonna get the chance to play something like a Yamato here, so maybe he does end up having something like a Yamato. But a lot of that, you know, like half of the reason why Enel could lose is just because, you know, their hand is not as good. But he's gonna get rid of a Sabo here using his leader ability to cycle 1 card. It looks like he's making a decision on how to use these 9 Dawn. I think here he actually asks if he could see his trash. I don't know exactly what he's looking for there. Maybe he's wondering if he could go for game here, because he does have the Hina and the brand new. There is a chance that he could just like full stack and swing, but then I don't know. I don't super agree with it. Great Eruption is coming down. I like this play a whole lot more, because we know he has the Hound Blaze in hand. He searched it. So if he ends up using the Hound Blaze on the Ohm here, that would be great. He could put plus 3,000 on the Hina, swing in, and then, you know, potentially swing in with brand new. Oh, but it looks like we might see another Lucci coming down. So he's going to take the Lucci, probably has a Hina in hand that he's going to play out. Yep, and then he's going to minus the Shirahoshi. And that perfectly lines up the Lucci play, KOing Ohm, who's at 2, Shirahoshi's at 1. So that is definitely one of the best plays I've ever seen, and one of the biggest tempo swings I've seen for Sakazuki and Enel. I think at this point you just have to kind of hope Yamato here will like give you some sort of good trigger. You know, you just use a Yamato, KO the black Hina, and then you just kind of hope that your triggers get you out of the situation, because that was a huge tempo swing. He's so wide on the board, and he was able to just completely clear Brian's board. And there's just not a lot of things that get you out of this, right? Because Alan on the right still has like, I think that's like at least 7 to 8 cards in hand. He didn't use a whole lot of resources to KO that board. And I mean, even though he went like technically 3 for 2, like he still has he still has the blocker, he still has Hina and Lucci as bodies. There's not a whole lot of removal that Enel has, so it's going to be really, really difficult to kind of navigate this endgame scenario. covering 2 Dawn here. We'll see what he ends up going for. Might have a Katakuri or something in hand. I think he's thinking about a play right now. This one's super tough because Sakazuki is wide enough on the board to really put a ton of pressure onto Enel if he can't heal here. So he's gonna swing 7k. This looks like I don't know if this is at leader or at Hina, but he's gonna end up swinging 7k at something. It ends up getting blocked. I'm willing to believe that might be at Hina, because you really do want to protect your board there. He's gonna look at the trash here, probably just looking to see how many 2Ks. With 7 Dawn, he could play something like Small Mom, but he's gonna end up playing the Enel. So he swings 7k. I wonder if this is at lead or at Hina. In my opinion, I think you just go for you just go for lead here, just because like this game is like a ticking time bomb, right? It doesn't seem like he has something like Yamato to put life back into his or put more life cards into his counter. So it's just gonna be really difficult to kind of preserve the game and go like almost like band for band character wise. Like it's gonna be very difficult. So I think you just go full on aggressive and force the Sakazuki player to just play those expensive blockers like Rebecca and Sabo. 2 Sabos are already in the trash, so he has to be playing Rebecca's, unless he runs something like Bartolomeo. But that 7k was at lead, and Alan's gonna take. So he drops down to 1 life, potentially still a dangerous situation for him. We'll end up seeing, but like if he's only able to like set up 1 blocker and he has something like an Amaru or multiple Amarus, like we could definitely see him losing this game. But he just still has so many cards in hand. It is it's not looking too good because there are just so many different ways that you can get rid of this Enel, and I don't know, Brian trashing 1 life, like it's not too safe. So I think he's swinging at lead here. He's gonna minus that Enel, make it a 6 cost now. He's gonna counter out 1k with Gadatsu, which I think is a great counter. You're not gonna really use that right now. You know, Sakazuki's at 1 life. But now the Enel is still the thing that kind of sucks about Enel is that because he stays on the board after his effect he's not like Marco, right? Where if you minus Marco's cost or minus his power and then he dies and then comes back, like he gets, you know, his cost and power back. If he minuses Enel here, like it keeps that minus and he's able to just like do something like double Houndblaze on it. But I think he's gonna end up, he's swinging 5k into lead here for sure. I think he just wants to get rid of cards in his hand. He might be wanting to like swing at the Enel or doing some shenanigans where he forces Brian to go down to like 0 life. But we'll see here. I mean, with that many cards in hand, there's like so many different ways that this Enel could be double removed, because that is what you have to do with it, is you have to like double remove it. But he's gonna swing 6 at lead. I think he really just wants Brian to either drop his whole hand or drop down to 0 here. So it looks like there's a trigger in life that he's thinking about. I wonder what gets you out of this situation. Maybe like something, I don't know, like Cracker isn't really useful here. Maybe Anybody is useful. But he gets the Thunderbolt off, so potentially saving him from just getting full swung here. And then he's going to discard the Sanji to use his leader skill there. He only has 3 cards left in hand, and he's already used leader's ability. And the most messed up part about this is Alan has not used a single Dawn, so he still has 10 Dawn to play with. He could definitely end up like double removing this. Mancherry's coming out. I think maybe you grab, it looks like, yeah, he wants to grab the Rebecca back. With Mancherry, you know, at 10 Dawn, you could do Mancherry into Rebecca Hina, into like Lucci, make him discard the last life and go down to 0. You could do something like Rebecca Hina double Houndblaze, which is pretty crazy. Because it's going to end up dropping. Yeah, Hina's coming out over the Mancherry. It looks like one Houndblaze is going down, so here Brian's gonna have to make the decision, like, do you want to drop down to 0 life? So he's gonna end up trashing the life so that the Enel can stay on board, and then the Houndblaze, the double Houndblaze, unfortunately does come out onto the brand new, and I think this brand new is coming across the table for, looks like 9k. So Brian didn't end up having the El Thor plus 1k, but I mean, at this situation, like, it's gonna be really tough for him to come back. If he has something maybe like Rush Katakuri plus some Amarus, but it doesn't look like he's going to get there. He only has the Amaru, no other bodies on board. He's going to lose next turn. So that is going to be the end of this video today, guys, and I would just like to thank everyone for watching this. Any Bay Area folk that are watching this, thank you guys for participating and just making this community an amazing, wholesome community. I'll see all of you guys at NATS if you guys are watching this. And of course, as always, good luck in anything you're doing, whether that be work, school, anything at all. And I'll see you on the next one.